Well, good evening, everyone. We're going to just start momentarily. We apologize for the delay. We're actually trying to coincide this with a visit by the Lieutenant Governor, but apparently the traffic at the Concord Rotary is such that he won't be able to make this press conference. So today is day 11 in terms of the ice storm that started in the city on December 12th, 2008. And we still have a significant number of customers, households, families, individuals in the city that do not have power. That has caused a major issue in the city. We find that the situation is absolutely unacceptable. We also are hearing reports, in addition to the 1,533 regular customers on primary lines that have been without power, there are still a number of individual customers without power. And we also had reports that transmission line in West Fitchburg came down, causing another 6,600 customers to lose power. There's going to be more information about this forthcoming. There are meetings that we're going to be having with the power company and with the state to figure out more about this. And we also have a representative from Unitil who can answer any questions about the current situation of power restoration. I did want to let the citizens of Fitchburg know, and certainly a lot of the residents are living outside of the city with families and friends, where they can get information. The city is compiling information that we receive from the power company, and we are posting that information online to try and help guide people as to what is going on in the city. We understand that this situation is changing quite rapidly, and we are certainly doing the best we can. We hear that it's very difficult to get through to various hotlines. We know that because there's a significant number of people without power, there's certainly a lot of people calling in and wanting to find out what is happening with their individual situation. So what we have done, and we've had a great team of GIS and IT folks here in the city who have tried to compile real-time data with updates that they're getting from the power company. And I just want to show you just the latest maps that they have produced, just to show you the type of progress and the type of system that we've put in place to track all the different things that we're doing in the city. The city's major goal in terms of its DPW and emergency personnel is to assist with the power company's power restoration efforts, and also to make sure that roads are free and clear, especially since we've had a few snowstorms. And we have a map of the city of Fitchburg that is a GIS. And what we've done each and every day is to update this map as to what streets are clear, what streets are not, and where our priorities are for that day. This is as of yesterday morning. And what you see here, and I actually took the one from yesterday morning instead of today so you could see the different colors, but you'll see that the green streets are those that have been cleared, the red streets are those that have some sort of blockage. And we target the red spots, and we have turned all the green into red to make sure that the roads are clear. And this was as of yesterday morning, and certainly all the roads are green today. We just wanted to show how we've mapped our progress of road clearance over the past 11 days. We are also trying to provide information to Unitil, sorry, not to Unitil, from Unitil to the people of Fitchburg with this map. And this is a map that's posted on our website. Same map, GIS-based in the city of Fitchburg. And what we're showing here is red streets are the streets that we understand have no electricity. We're hoping that this does provide citizens with more information who maybe can't get through to the hotlines, and gives them an idea of what is going on in the city. This is obviously information that is changing on an hour-by-hour basis, certainly on a day-by-day basis. But we are hoping, and we are calling for this map to eliminate all the red, just like we've been able to eliminate all the red on this map in terms of road clearance. We have a number of guests here today who would like to speak, and I'll just be introducing them, and then we'll be able to take some questions from you later. We first have our state senator-elect, Jen Flanagan, who has just been wonderful throughout this process. We also have our state representative here in Fitchburg, Stephen DiNatale, who will also speak.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, we've been having these press conferences on a daily basis, and not a great deal changes from day to day. I'm sorry to report that, but we still have too many people that are out of their homes and faced with power outages continuing. I mean, we're going to be going into day 12 tomorrow, so just in the spirit of trying to be positive here, we just hope that these folks will bear with us. We're getting to you, and we hope that we can have this cleared up before Christmas. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. As the mayor said and Representative Di Natale, we're on day 11. And as the senator for 4 towns that have people without power, as we're going into day 12, we're finding that this is becoming extremely dangerous and extremely difficult. So we're asking people to seek shelter where they can. We're asking family members to check in on their family members and friends in their neighborhoods, because what we're finding now is people are refusing to leave their homes. Fitchburg has had a situation where the power goes up, then it goes back down. Within 24 hours, it's back up and it's back down again. People are becoming frustrated, and people certainly have health needs that we're trying to pay very close attention to. If you have any questions, make sure you call your Emergency Operations Center in each of the towns and cities, but we really want to continue to work very closely to ensure that the power is up. Now, as in the spirit of Christmas, we're trying to be all nice and really try to sugarcoat this, but the truth of the matter is there will be additional questions after this. There will be additional investigations as to why this happened, how this could have been prevented, what we can do to prevent this from happening again. Day 11 with no power, when we have an excessive wind gust out there and wind chills, is unacceptable, especially in the north central part of Massachusetts. We have very difficult terrain up here in our cities and towns. We sort of have a combination of urban and suburban life, and something that we need to continue to work on. We are monitoring this. We're getting updates as often as we possibly can. The legislative delegation, along with Mayor Wong, and the Fitchburg Police Department and the Fitchburg Fire Department are working extensively on this issue. So I don't want the residents to think that this is going to simply go away. This is just simply phase 1. Let's just get the power back. Let's get it up and running, and we'll ask all the difficult questions as time goes on. Thank you.
Actually, we are going to get to that. We do have a representative from Unitil here. I do just want to take a moment and especially address the citizens of Fitchburg with a few announcements. First is that because of the impact of the situation on our emergency and DPW personnel, who have just been working extensively around the city to keep us safe, we're asking residents to help out. This is the time to clean out the areas around the hydrants. So if you have hydrants near your home, we ask people to help shovel them out. We've had a significant amount of snow in the last few days. So we know that there's going to be some warm temperatures coming up. If you can help us get out there and shovel out some hydrants, that will really help our emergency personnel. I also want to make mention of a number of wonderful volunteers that you've seen in the city today. They are from the National Guard. We've had 45 people from the National Guard combing through our city today. Day 11 with no electricity has really caused some issues in the city in terms of potential health concerns. The National Guard was able to visit over 1,000 homes. They reached people in half of them, and there was very few incidents. We were able to help some people with some issues, but fortunately, to date, we found no significant issues in terms of our ability to protect life. So we are very, very thankful for that. But each and every day that goes by without power remains a concern for the city, and certainly for our residents. So we are still we're still continuing to call for the full restoration of power here in the city. That's the Christmas present that all of us want this year. So answer specific questions and to give an update, George Gantz from Unitil.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is George Gantz. I'm a Senior Vice President with Unitil. And we couldn't agree more with the speakers about the importance of restoring service to all the citizens and business accounts and residences in Fitchburg and the surrounding communities of Lunenburg, Ashby, and Townsend. I'd like to give you a status report on where we are and to start by talking about a specific issue that we've been grappling with today and last night. and it goes back to the beginning of the storm 11 days ago, which created extensive damage on all the components of our system. One of the key components of our system is the sub-transmission lines that bring power from the delivery point out to our major substations. We have 4 of those lines. When the storm hit, 3 of those lines were taken out of service. These lines are so critical to the system that they're built as redundant pairs. So when we entered into the restoration process for those transmission lines, we were able to bring 2 of them back into service. The 4th line, which was a redundant line for the extra line, we decided not to work on repairs on that line immediately because we wanted to deploy to the primary circuit so that we bring customers back. That extra line was not necessary to provide electricity to the city. It's a redundant line that provides some protection. One of the issues as additional resources became available to us over the course of the weekend, one of the issues that we focused on was the vulnerability of that line. And we have brought to the system some expert transmission crews from National Grid. Those crews have been working very hard to restore that line. Last night, with the storm and the wind, we had an outage on that single line. That went down, power went down on West Fitchburg for about 6,000 customers. That was, in fact, if you will, showing the vulnerability of the system in the state it was. That line was brought back into service last evening. It went down again this afternoon. This afternoon we deployed resources. We worked with the National Grid personnel, had personnel out there, and as I understand it, before I came over here, both of those lines have now been repaired, and we will be in the process of doing the process of switching necessary to bring those lines back into service. As soon as one of those lines does come back into service, power will be restored to West Fitchburg and those customers will have power again. The additional line coming back into service will then give us the redundancy we've been seeking so that we will have an effective and secure and reliable distribution system, transmission system. The second thing I'd like to talk about is the restoration process itself. We've been talking this week about the fact that we had a limitation of crews available to us. We brought crews up from far away from Tennessee. During the course of the week, we had a total crew complement in the 4 towns of about 75 crews. These were utility crews and tree crews working to restore and repair the system. Over the weekend, we were able to secure additional resources because other utilities in New England that had used their own crews or used contract crews they acquired for their own systems had gotten to the point where they were then able to start releasing those crews. So on Saturday, National Grid provided us with 40 crews. On Sunday, they provided us with an additional 50 crews. Well, I may be forgetting the numbers. As of Sunday, system-wide, we had a total deployment of about 210 crews, utility crews and tree crews working in the system. Today, we were able to secure and deploy an additional 110 crews, and these were primarily utility crews, the buckets, the line crews that go up in the buckets to repair the lines. This additional influx of resources has put us in a substantially better position than we were previously. In addition, over the weekend, again, with the assistance of National Grid, we were able to secure a team of 28 expert damage assessment personnel. Those personnel were active in the course of yesterday and today, finishing up in preparing a detailed assessment of the work remaining to be completed before everyone is restored. That provides the basis for the work plan we had for today, as well as the work plan we're going to have for tomorrow and the work plan to finish this effort. With that work plan and with those crews, we have been making significant progress in all of the 4 communities. The latest report of the customer count is 1,420 in Fitchburg that still remain without power, but there are many of those crews that we haven't gotten reports back yet of where they've been energizing. We know that number is going to continue to drop through the course of the evening. We just don't know how much. So we will have that data at the end of the day once those crews are done with their primary work. That is still a lot of customers, and we realize that, but this is part of our process of deploying the resources that we need to get the job done. Based on the damage assessment and the crew complements, we made an estimated restoration time indicated to the Emergency Operations Center last night that we felt that service would be substantially complete by the end of by Tuesday night. And we remain confident that we will be able to achieve that. So that's my status report.
So this 1,420, does that include the 6,000 from West Fitchburg that are still?
I'm sorry, that doesn't. That includes the local primary and circuit work that we're working on. Does not include the 6,000. The 6,000 right now, hopefully very shortly those 6,000 will be back in service.
What's the earliest the National Grid offered help, and did you accept it then?
We did. The earliest we were offered help was late on Friday. We secured those crews from National Grid on the basis of mutual assistance. As far as we know, those were the very first 40 crews that were made available anywhere in New England, and we had them working then on Saturday. The additional crews and the additional support personnel that we received on Sunday and again today, I can say was made available to us after the concern that the governor had with the situation was expressed to us and shared with the other utilities in Massachusetts. I think it's safe to say that he wanted to make sure that others were making available any resources they could to us in order to complete the restoration. National Grid has really stepped up to the plate, and we really appreciate their help. It's very important to us and very important to our customers to bring them back. I would like to mention that we did get a call today. We appreciate the support from National Grid, but for the customers of Unitil, National Grid cannot help you with the information. These are Unitil customers, so don't call the National Grid customer service line because they simply don't have information to be useful to you. So we emphasize for customers they need to call the Unitil customer service line, which is 888-301-7700.
Mr. Gantz, does your company have a master plan or a disaster plan for something like this, or were you just flying blind at this point?
No, we have a plan, and the plan is based upon the damage that's inflicted, and then a sequential and disciplined process of recovery. The sequence begins with the transmission, proceeds down through the primary circuits. So it is disciplined, and
it sounds like you guys weren't ready for this kind of damage.
We didn't have access to sufficient crews. Given the scope and scale of the damage in New England, we simply did not have access to the crews that were necessary. This was an event of, from our standpoint, unbelievable proportions. We have had crews go out in the field, and including crews that have worked in hurricanes down in the south and other major storm events. They've gone out and they've looked at our system and they said, we've never seen anything like this before. When we restored our transmission and sub-transmission system approximately 8 days ago, I think it was on Sunday, a week ago, the percentage of our system that was still out was 66%, which meant that 66% or two-thirds of all the primary circuits, which is the backbone of the system, were still out of service. And as we've gotten into those primary circuits and as we've learned more about the extent of the damage, we realized the repairs were more difficult and more complicated than we had anticipated. I think this is part of what led to the perhaps miscommunication about when we thought we would be able to restore. It's been more difficult and more challenging than we expected, but we are confident now that we've got the resources in place, we've deployed those resources, they are making those repairs, and we will get done with the job.
Sir, but what do you say for those customers who, even now, if they're lucky and they get their power back tomorrow, might be looking at the next storm down, I mean, this is New England, we get storms like this fairly often. They might be looking at the next storm thinking, oh, here we go again. How do we know this won't happen again?
Well, this was, we hope, a unique and remarkable ice storm event. It damaged wide sections of New England to an incredible degree. Communities in Massachusetts and New Hampshire have suffered. What I can say is that we will, as I indicated, we're dedicated to the integrity of our system, the reliability of the different components of the system. Right now, we're focused on bringing customers back. We know there are parts of this system that we're going to need to go back through a process over the next couple of months and make sure they're fully hardened and up to appropriate reliability standards. But right now, the sole objective is to bring all the customers back as fast as we can.
And you may have covered this before. Are you making any promises now as to when you'll get the job done?
What we indicated last night is we'll be substantially complete in Fitchburg, Townsend, and Lunenburg by tomorrow night. We are still looking at the damage assessment reports we got for Ashby during the course of the day, and we'll be working on that through the evening and into the night to develop an appropriate plan and a formal estimated time of restoration for Ashby.
I think a lot of people are sitting home and saying maybe this company is not up to the job.
I can appreciate that sentiment, but my opinion is that we deployed our resources effectively. We did everything that we could. As those resources became available, we deployed them and we put them in place, and we are completing this restoration as fast as humanly possible.
At what point did you begin to ask for additional resources? Was it not until Friday of last week, or?
A week ago Friday morning, the morning after the storm occurred, we had our requests out for mutual aid from other utilities. There were no crews available in New England. All the other crews were retaining their crews for deployment in their own service territories. So the requests, both from Unitil and from other utilities in New England, went out farther and farther afield. Canada, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and as I said, we have crews that came in from Tennessee. I think it was a 32-hour deployment with traffic and travel and sleeping and all that. So it's an extensive period of time to get those crews up. We had the crews that have been released to us from National Grid include crews. I saw one truck from Michigan. I don't know all the other locations they might be from, but this was an extensive deployment from a very wide swath. We started the process of requesting crews, as I said, early Friday morning after the storm had hit. We continued to make those requests and appeals through the course of the week. The first crews that were made available to us from any source after that point were, in fact, the ones we deployed on Saturday.
How is it that Unitil came up so short on crews?
Well, the mutual aid program amongst utilities is a very effective program of having utilities help each other out in times when one has problems and the other does not. And that recognizes the fact that any given utility is not going to have staff available to meet every storm contingency. You want to have a staff level that's appropriate for your ongoing work requirements during the course of the year. Our normal complement of crews in the Fitchburg area is 7. In a storm situation, utilities look to each other for support. In an event of this scope and scale, the utilities first look to their own customers. So those utilities with substantial resources of their own were able to deploy those resources within their own system. They do that and do not release crews until they're satisfied that their system is at an appropriate point that it's okay for them to release those crews. That's simply the way the system works. If it resulted in some companies being able to deploy resources that we did not have access to for a period of time, that's a fact that we had to deal with, and it's a fact that potentially one might say that the customers and citizens of Fitchburg and surrounding communities have to deal with as well, unfortunately.
So I guess we come back to the question of what can you tell customers to assure them that you're capable of handling another storm of this scope, which, in fact, we have had in parts of New England many times.
This storm was broader in scope than any other storm. The damage on the electric system in Massachusetts and New Hampshire was far more extensive. We had an estimate that we deployed materials and supplies in the first week of storm restoration that was equivalent to what we normally use up in 4 years of work. This is beyond the scope and scale of any experience anyone's ever had in New England before. Hopefully it won't happen again. But one of the things we all have to do once all of the customers are in, they all have service, then we will hopefully have a wonderful Christmas celebration, and we'll come back from the holidays with a fresh mind and put that mind into determining what happened, assessing what happened, evaluating what happened, what could have been done better. There are always lessons to be learned from situations like this. This was a major disaster, a major significant disaster for the region. It significantly affected the region, and it very significantly affected the customers in north central Massachusetts. So we need to do the assessment. We need to take the lessons learned. We need to see what comes out of that process, and I know that's something that the governor is committed to. His administration is committed to. I know the officials here are committed to it. We're committed to it as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
She spoke earlier. That would conclude this portion of the press conference. The mayor's been called away with the senator-elect and state representative. So thank you very much.